Yo, what's going on, guys? Estee McCrawly coming to another video. Today we got some more double battles here on the battle spot using the Mega Altaria team that I made. It's been a lot of fun. I feel like this team has some pretty good balance in it. Um, Today, this first battle is going to be a short one. The second one's going to be a little bit longer than normal, I'd say. So let's get into it. My first opponent had a team of Kangaskhan, Excelgor, Arcanine, Heatran, Cresselia, and oh man, what's it called? Mienshao. It's the one on the far right. Um, the funny thing is, like before, I know it. Like when I'm in the battles, I'm like, okay, that's what it is. But when I get put on the spot, sometimes I forget. So, an interesting team here. Excelgor, I don't really know what it brings to the table. Don't know much about it. Mienshao, I know, is a fake out user and has regenerator, so you got to keep my eye out for that. He didn't bring the Heatran, which I found interesting. I don't have any ground types on my team. I do have Earthquake with Tauros, who I decided not to bring just because I also have hit Earth Power on my Hydreigon. So maybe that's kind of what scared him off. But I was actually surprised. But this, I guess, at the same time, Heatran didn't do too much to my team. What I was concerned with mainly here was the Kangaskhan. So the Infernape is really good here because it deals with Kangaskhan, it deals with Excelgor, Heatran if he decides to bring it. It'll pretty much be able to outspeed everything on his team. He decided not to bring Cresselia either, probably for that Hydreigon. So I don't know if this Arcanine is going to be trying to burn me. If it's going to bring some sort of utility to his team. So that's what I have to keep in mind. So we're going to get started. I lead with Klefki Altaria. Like I've said in the previous videos, this is like my most common lead because it lets me start setting up with my Altarias in the beginning. And here I see Excelgor, Mienshao. So here I'm like, okay, I don't really know what to expect. I Mega Evolve just to boost those stats a little bit, but I also go for the Protect just to kind of scout out. I don't know if there's any Will-O-Wisp, T-Wave, whatever. And so we do see the Fake Out into the Klefki. And from the Excelgor, we see Final Gambit. And I was like, ooh. So here I switch out. I definitely don't want my Altaria going down since it has a pretty decent matchup. And I go into my Infernape here. With the two Pokemon he brought that he started out with, I felt like it wasn't too important to keep Infernape around. So here I get the Paralysis off. And he does go for the Final Gambit into Infernape. Lucky for me, it's going to bring me on my Focus Sash. But unfortunately for him, that's going to be a knocked out Excelgor. So all around, I'd say that was a win for me since I picked the free knockout and he didn't. And I got the paralysis onto the Mienshao. The only thing that sucks is Infernape's going to go down here. If the full para would have been the only thing that could have made that better. But now at the same time, that's just going to be a free switch for me. So we do see Arcanine, and I bring in Altaria to deal with this Mienshao. I can just go for a Hyper Voice and knock it out. We do see the Intimidate. It's not going to make a difference. So I set up the light screen here just in case this Arcanine was special and I didn't know what he had in the back. So I'm like, okay, I know I'm going down here. So I'm just going to set that up. We do see it's Flare Blitz, so good information to have knowing that it's physical set. Physical set. And we don't see any item yet. And I get the Hyper Voice off. That's going to connect. That's going to be an easy knockout. No Focus Sash on the Mienshao. Don't really know what it was holding. I guess it could have been Choice. We only saw... Oh, no, it couldn't have been Choice that you speak out first. So we see the last Pokemon he has is Kangaskhan. So, what's unfortunate is these two I have aren't really the best with dealing with the Kangaskhan. The Infernape I had... I don't know if Close Combat would have been able to one-shot this thing. Possibly. But even then, this thing's just a big problem. Since I'm not going to be able to resist the Double Edge. But we do see a straight-up fake-out into Altaria, which I found interesting. And I was like, oh yeah, well, Arcanine gets access to Close Combat. Well, interestingly enough, I outspeed. So here, I don't go for Earth Power. I'm going to be locked into something. I figure Choice Specs Dark Pulse would be able to knock him out at 50% health. So here he's going to go for the Double Edge into Hydreigon. And that's going to be just enough to pick up the knockout. Which is unfortunate. If I survived, this would have been easily over. He's going to take quite a bit of recoil, so now it just comes down to how much this Hyper Voice is going to do. So it's not going to pick up the knockout. It's going to bring him down the red health. And if a double edge is enough to pick up the knockout on Hydreigon, it's definitely going to be enough to pick up the knockout on Altaria. So one thing I was kind of debating is the previous turn, I was thinking of maybe setting up a Cotton Guard just to raise my defenses. I don't know if it would have made too much of a difference because I still would have had to survive 2 double edges. So I don't think it would have made that much of a difference. I could have played that a little bit better. What really caught me off guard was the final Gambit from Excelgor and letting my Infernape go down. Maybe I should have... I just wanted to preserve Altaria just because in the back there was the possibility of him having... Or he did have the Mienshao on the field, and in the back he had the possibility of having the Cresselia, and I was like, well, I'd like to have Altaria around to be able to deal some damage. So maybe I should just let Altaria go down, just so I could have kept Infernape to deal with some of his other Pokemon. But it's hard to say. My opponent played pretty well. It was a really quick battle as well. Not much protecting going on. There's some good offensive moves. Unfortunately, his Kangaskhan survived in red health, so I mean, I don't know. I'm still content with how that battle played out, so no complaints here from me. It was a fun one. I mean, his Pokemon, it was a 0-0 win for him, so we're just going to move into the next battle. My opponent had a team of Cresselia, Garchomp, Crocodile, Smeargle, Kangaskhan, and Aegislash. So with the Kangaskhan Smeargle, I thought, okay, that's a very dangerous lead. So that's why I'm like, okay, I automatically have to lead with Infernape here because I'll outspeed his Kangaskhan and Smeargle. So if you lead Smeargle, I can fake out Smeargle turn 1 so it can't set up anything, break its potential sash. So, and then I'm also like, okay, I'll bring Tauros here as well. It'll deal with the Krokorok, it'll deal with the Garchomp, it'll deal with the Kangaskhan, possibly the Aegislash. It could be a mix set. It could carry Gyro Ball, could carry Shadow Sneak, so it could help me out there with some Intimidates. I was thinking about bringing Rotom here for Hidden Power Ice, and also the Shadow Ball for Aegislash and the Hydro Pump for Crocodile, but I was like, I think I can deal without it. The Crocodile and the Garchomp will go down to a Hyper Voice from Altaria. And then the Aegislash, I got Tauros, Earthquake, Hydreigon has Earthquake and Flamethrower. Infernape has Flare Blitz, so I mean I got plenty to deal with the Aegislash with. So in the end I decided not to bring it. Also because Rotom's highly specially defensive, but he's got a lot of physical attackers on his team. So he's gonna lead with Kangaskhan, Smeargle. I was like, okay, that's a lead I can deal with at this point. So I immediately switch out my Altaria and I'm gonna bring in the Kangaskhan, the Tauros to deal with the Kangaskhan. I'm gonna get this Intimidate off, which is going to greatly reduce the damage output that he's going to be able to have with that Kangaskhan, as long as he keeps it in. So we are going to see the Mega Evolution, no surprise there. And at this point, I'm like, okay, I'm willing to trade Fake Outs just to potentially break the sash of the Smeargle. He does protect with Smeargle, which is a good play on his part, but at the same time, I couldn't risk him not going for Protect. I still don't know what this is going to be, but that shows me he's not Scarfed, and that's really good information to have. And when you see the cheeky Ice Punch from this Kangaskhan, oh man. So if I stayed in, that probably would have knocked me out. The Intimidate makes it do less than 50%, and he's going to immediately switch out here, which is a good play by him. And we're going to see the Cresselia come in. So he was most likely predicting the close combat into that slot, but I go for a return onto Smeargle. I really don't like Smeargle. It's a big problem. And I went for the Encore and the Kangaskhan, the Locket and the Fake Out. I guess you could say a greedy play on my part. The safer play would have been to double up into the Smeargle, but I just couldn't risk him going for like a double edge. I was thinking, okay, well, he's locked in the Fake Out. I can force the switch out there. And then the next turn I could have like gone full offense. But I guess I should have realized most likely would have been, since he wasn't Scarfed, it most likely was Focus Sash, Dark Void, Smeargle. So he's going to protect here with Smeargle, which is a fantastic play by him. At the same time, I couldn't risk that prediction. And he does go for Psychic as I predicted, so I go on the Hydreigon. Free switch in for me, and we're in a really good spot. So he's going to switch out the Smeargle to bring in the Aegislash. I was thinking about that. I was like, maybe I can go for Return because it covers any potential switch. But Unfortunately, I don't. So here he's gonna like Moonlight Stall my Dark Pulse. That did a lot of damage. Choice Specs Hydreigon's incredibly powerful. So that did over 75%. So at this point, another one will or should knock him out. So this is here I go for the Earthquake, which is going to do very little damage to this Aegislash, and then we see I am like great, it's Weakness Policy. I haven't really had too much experience with Aegislash and doubles, so I mean Weakness Policy is a very common move. So it's most likely very defensive, and then he carries the Weakness Policy. So here Cresselia is going to hang on with very little health. And here I'm like, okay, so he didn't King Shield with the Aegislash, so he's most likely got Secret Sword. I was kind of thinking that, I was like, I haven't really seen it. But if you look at his team comp, this is a good tech move to have, just to have that fighting move on his team. But he actually goes to, what surprised me is he went for the Sacred Sword and the Tauros. So that kind of makes sense since his Kangaskhan does have Ice Punch, which can deal with both these dragon types. So I was actually surprised. I was expecting it to go in the Hydreigon, but he might want me to not have Intimidate for the Kangaskhan. I don't really know. It was an interesting choice by him. So here, I was thinking, I can't let this Aegislash stick around because of the Weakness Policy. So I can go for the Dark Pulse just to make sure that he shields. And I was actually surprised here that Cresselia outsped my Altaria. I was like, maybe I can knock it out. I don't know, since it would just be a single target Hyper Voice. But we see it wouldn't have. It would have only done about 30%. So at the end, it's fine. But I was like, this Cresselia must have speed investment then. But here, I cannot let him go for a Dark Void. It's just not possible. Big mistake. It would be a big mistake. And here he goes for Skill Swap. I was like, oh, okay. So he's going to take away my Pixelate, give me Levitate. Not really at the end of the world. Not really that big of a deal, I guess. And here I set up a Cotton Guard because I know the Kangaskhan is going to be coming in. So I don't want him to be able to knock me out with the Ice Punches. So back in comes the Kangaskhan. Most likely going to see a Fake Out here. And I was like, no, he just goes straight for the Ice Punch on the Hydreigon. So I was like, we barely hang on. That's awesome. So if you guys remember from the last battle, the Double Edge did knock me out. So interestingly enough, Double Edge does do more damage to dragons, but something like a Dragonite or a Garchomp, Ice Punch will do more, but to just a ×2 dragon like Hydreigon, Ice Punch does do less. It's just a fun fact for you. So here he's going to go for the knockout on the Hydreigon. Unfortunate, Dark Pulse onto this bad. I guess I should have prioritized that a little bit more. Just gone for a Dark Pulse straight into Kangaskhan. Just get tons of damage because I'm pretty sure based on that damage, a Dark Pulse would have knocked him out. So I guess that would have been a better decision for me to make. And right now I just have this sleeping Infernape, and here he gets the freeze on the Altaria, and you see that did nothing. That did absolutely nothing to me. That's like a 4-hit KO, and Infernape stays asleep. So a little bit of luck in my opponent's way, and we see the Drain Punch here. So I'm like, does he even have Return or Double Edge? Because I mean, obviously he wants the health to come back. It's a good idea, but at this point I was like, does he even have Return? So that's just over 50%, and we stay frozen. So it's just kind of a waiting game right now. And here we stay asleep again. A third turn of sleep, and this Drain Punch is going to be enough to knock us out. So my opponent got really lucky there with the 3 turns of sleep. I mean, a close combat, I should have ran the calc. I was just like, oh man, you got to be kidding me at this point. But a close combat might have knocked him out. Base, it's just a lot of damage. So right now we're just waiting on an Altaria Defrost, because it's a 3-hit KO. Dragon Pulse is a 3-hit KO. So like at this point, it's like I have to wake up, or I have to Dethaw, or it's going to be over with. But I stay frozen solid. So my opponent's just going to keep on going for Ice Punches. And that's pretty much going to seal up the deal for him. I'd have to get a crit in order to, or Dethaw and get a crit in order to win this bad boy. But right there, I didn't Dethaw again. So it's like 4 or 5 turns of being frozen, and there goes another one. We still don't dethaw, and that's just terribly bad luck. So I don't know, like, and I can't say if this Kangaskhan had like double edge of return instead of ice punch, this game would have been different because my Hydreigon wouldn't have been able to survive. Some of the stuff just would have turned out different. But I guess I can also go back and say that I misplayed when I went for the Dark Pulse to take out the Cresselia, who didn't even have anything to touch my Hydreigon with. I think the only thing we saw was Psychic. We didn't even see Ice Beam or anything. So we saw Moonlight and Skill Swap, so we don't even know what the last move was. It could have been Helping Hand. So I guess that was kind of a misplay. I just wanted to get rid of it, and I was confident. Like, I guess I didn't predict the freeze. I didn't try and account for a potential freeze, because the way I played it, I would have won. Like, there would have been no surprises from Cresselia, no Helping Hands. I was at +6 defense with Altaria. Dragon Pulses would have been able to finish him off. But at the same time, Cresselia wasn't doing anything, so if I went for Dark Pulse, Dragon Pulse in the Kangaskhan, it would have been knocked out, and it would have been Altaria versus Cresselia. I don't know if I would have won that, because he did have Psychic, and he also had Moonlight, even though he did use a few of them. So, also, I guess I definitely could have played that better. So, at the end of the day, that's one of those battles where luck just wasn't on my side. I didn't play that well either, especially with the Smeargle. I could have probably prevented Infernape from falling asleep in the first place. But still a pretty good game. Enjoyable. I played it pretty well at the beginning, kind of lost it at the end. But yeah, I haven't gotten to use Altaria against any dragons. He scares away the dragons immediately. So no Garchomps. This guy had a Garchomp on his team, didn't bring it. But yeah, I'll keep on coming at you guys with these battles. I'll be doing a few more videos with this team, showing off the prowess of Mega Altaria. Playing better against these Mega Kangaskhans. Both battles today were losses against Mega Kangaskhan. A little bit of hacks as well, but I'm okay with that. Goes your way sometimes, goes the other way the other time. But if you guys get any suggestions for me, go ahead and let me know. If you want to battle me, also let me know. But that's going to be it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time.